Tiff Tannen! Get away from that hubcap before I call your father!
So the video store building must have gone up after the speakeasy burned down.
The following year, as I recall.
I guess somewhere in these stacks there must be an article about the speakeasy burning down.
Naturally. Yeah, I probably wrote it myself. I was quite a reporter back in the day.
Any idea what date that article came out?
Well, obviously the day after the speakeasy burned down.
Don't let me keep you from your business. Marshall Strickland.
My grandfather, gunned down by Mad Dog Tannen over 100 years ago.
That's not how I remember it.
There's the whistle! Surely the water's boiling by now.
Juveniles collide with manure truck. Nice picture. Brown Mansion destroyed. 1962. No, that's not where Doc's stranded. Alright, Einstein brought me this shoe, and Miss Strickland lost the shoe on the day the speakeasy burned down. But when did the speakeasy burn down? I at least need to know the year. Firm announces plans for Lone Pine Mall, Peabody Ranch to be rezoned for commercial development. I don't even know where to start looking for clues in these stacks. Wish I could narrow it down to a year at least. Clint Eastwood plunges to death on runaway train. I don't even know where to start looking for clues in these stacks. Wish I could narrow it down to a year at least. October 28th, 1985. Authorities still mystified by mall shootout. I don't even know where to start looking for clues in these stacks. Wish I could narrow it down to a year at least. Jeez, they all look like they've got sticks up there.
What's that, dear?
Nothing.
Yeah, that's peculiar. The water still hasn't come to a boil.
That tea's never gonna boil. Would you mind if I stepped out for a minute? I just remembered a video I've got to return.
Do you have to go? I get so few visitors these days.
But...
And I'd hate to have to tell my brother, your vice principal in charge of discipline, how rude you were to me. Especially with graduation coming up and all.
Miss Strickland lost that shoe the day the speakeasy burned down. But when was that?
There's the whistle! Surely the water's boiling by now.
October 28th, 1985. Authorities still mystified by mall shootout. I don't even know where to start looking for clues in these stacks. Wish I could narrow it down to a year at least. October 28th, 1985. Authorities still mystified by mall shootout. I don't even know where to start looking for clues in these stacks. Wish I could narrow it down to a year at least.
The polite guest stays out of the host's kitchen, Mr. McFly.
I guess I'm stuck here for a while.
That's what you get with these cheap, foreign-made kettles. But trying to find an American one nowadays... ugh. I told you not to touch those!
Miss Pretty Whiskers? I didn't even know they gave out trophies for Best Litter Columnist. Miss Strickland? So the video store building must have gone up after the speakeasy burned down.
The following year, as I recall.
Don't let me keep you from your business. Mind if I take a look?
Go ahead, dear.
Rebuilt in February 1932. So the fire must have happened before then. But when? I need a date!
Don't look at me. I'm far too old for you.
Rebuilt in February 1932. So the fire must have happened before then. But when? I need a date!
There's the whistle! Surely the water's boiling by now.
Let's see. Ground broken on site of former speakeasy, singer vanishes, Hill Valley Expo delights crowd, soup kitchen exposed. Here we go. Speakeasy arsonist slain. Legal procedure gave way to old-fashioned vengeance last night when a mob descended on the Hill Valley police station. The suspect in the speakeasy arson case, a drifter known as Carl Sagan, was pulled from his... Carl Sagan? It's Doc! Killed by a mob. What's the date? June 14th, 1931. Jeez, I gotta rescue him.
My newspapers!
Sorry, Miss Strickland. Let me...
No! You've gotten my history out of order! Oh, do you know how long it'll take to fix what you've done? Oh, get out! Get out! Get out!
Help! Police! I'm being attacked by hooligans!
Marty! Where you been, son? And what are you doing in that getup?
Didn't I tell you? I got the lead in the school play. We're doing...
Grapes of Wrath?
Right.
Oh, Steinbeck! Who are you playing? Never mind, you don't have to explain. I'm sure whatever it is you're up to, you know what you're doing, right?
I hope so.
Hey, sometimes you gotta go out on a limb for the ones you love, right? Wish my dad had understood that. You won't stay away too long.
You'll barely know I was gone. You ready to go, Einstein? Time circuits? On. Flux capacitor? Fluxy. Okay, if Doc's gonna get killed on June 14th, 1931, I'll just show up the day before and get him out. I hope you know what you're doing, Doc. Einstein, where'd you go now, boy?
Young man! Excuse me, young man!
Who, me?
You're the only man in the street, and I'm looking for a man-in-the-street reaction. Naturally, you know about the explosion that destroyed this illegal gin establishment.
I read about it, yeah.
What's your opinion of Carl Sagan, the stranger who single-handedly did what the law has been unable to do for 10 long years, namely, rid Hill Valley of the scourge of liquor?
There's gotta be some sort of mistake here. Carl wouldn't do something like that.
It's surprising the lengths a person will go to when it's a clear-cut matter of right and wrong. You've got an honest look about you. You do support the side of righteousness, I trust.
You can mark me down as a supporter.
The young man said, flashing a boyish yet virile grin. Hill Valley needs more upstanding youths like yourself. Do you have a message for the vicious gangsters who still roam these streets, no doubt plotting to corrupt our citizens with another den of booze, sin, and debauchery?
No, not really.
That's the spirit! Destroy them with indifference! If we refuse to patronize their establishments and glorify their wicked exploits, they'll soon be exposed for the pathetic wretches they are! May I get your name?
Yeah, it's... Sonny Crockett.
Thank you for sharing your candid opinions, Mr. Crockett. Edna Strickland, Hill Valley Herald.
I know. I met you back. I'm familiar with your work.
You read my column? How sweet!